I want to ask you something. What if life isn't actually supposed to feel like this constant uphill battle? Today, we're going to dive into some powerful rules for making your life feel, well, a whole lot more effortless. And we can start right now.
Okay, so here's the core idea, and it's simple, but honestly, it's pretty profound. If life feels incredibly hard, like you're just grinding away all the time, it might be because you're playing by a set of invisible rules, rules that are just holding you back.
No, really, just think about that for a second. What if all that struggle, that exhaustion, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed, what if that isn't the default setting for being human? What if there's a totally different way to operate? And this is so important. This isn't about some personal failing on your part. You're not lazy, you are not broken, and you're definitely not behind. It's more like you've been handed a faulty instruction manual for life, one that makes every single task way heavier than it actually needs to be.
So okay, how do we fix this thing? Well, it all starts with our inner game. It starts by shifting our mindset. Let's dig into the first core principle and see exactly how this works.
All right, here's the first big shift. Playing on hard mode means you're always waiting for inspiration to strike. You're just hoping you'll feel like doing the work. But effortless mode, that's totally different. It's all about building a system that runs on autopilot, whether you feel like it or not.
And this leads us to a pretty provocative idea. Motivation is a scam. Yeah, I said it. We're taught our whole lives to chase this feeling, but relying on it is exactly what sets us up to fail.
Think of it this way. Motivation is like emotional caffeine. It gives you this awesome but very temporary spike of energy, but it always leads to a crash. You just can't run your life on it. People who live effortlessly, they don't depend on this fleeting feeling. They rely on something way more stable.
Okay, so what happens when things inevitably go wrong? You have a bad day. Most of us, we treat it like a total catastrophe, right? A sign that we should just quit. But the effortless approach, it's seeing a bad day for exactly what it is. Just bad weather. Sure, it's annoying, and yeah, it's temporary. But ultimately, it's completely irrelevant to your long-term progress.
And this really gets at the paradox of consistency. When you aim for that perfect 2-hour workout, the pressure is usually so high that you end up doing nothing, zero. But what happens if you just aim for 5 minutes? Something so easy you literally can't say no to it. Well, you end up showing up consistently, day after day.
You really gotta let this one sink in. The habits that actually stick around, the ones that truly build momentum, they aren't the most impressive sounding ones. Nope. They're the ones that are almost embarrassingly easy to do. That, right there, is the secret to real consistency.
Okay, so we've kind of reset our inner game. Now let's look outward. Because your environment is way more powerful than your willpower, designing it is the next huge key to living an effortless life. So hard mode is just this constant battle, right? You're always relying on that very limited resource we call willpower. But in effortless mode, you don't fight. You design your environment so that the right choice becomes the easiest choice. No willpower needed.
So how do you actually do that? It's 3 pretty simple steps. First, make your distractions inconvenient. Like, put your phone in another room when you need to focus. Second, make your goals super visible. Put your running shoes right by the front door. And third, let the room do the work for you. When you change your space, your behavior will follow automatically. It's almost like magic.
Oh man, this one is a huge energy saver. You have to stop waking up and asking yourself, should I work out today, or what should I work on first? That daily decision fatigue is a silent killer of productivity. The trick is to decide once. For example, I work out every morning, period. The daily debate is just gone.
I absolutely love this analogy. We've all been there, right? Stuck in analysis paralysis. Overthinking is so tricky because it feels productive. It feels like you're making progress, but it's not progress. It's just fear wearing a pair of glasses. The antidote isn't more thinking. It's motion. It's just starting.
All right, let's move into our final section here and see how all of this builds into a real long-term strategy. This is where we shift from just chasing short-term goals to building a lasting identity. See, chasing goals, that's hard mode. You hit the target, and then what? The motivation just vanishes? But effortless mode is all about building an identity. The focus isn't on the outcome itself. It's on becoming the kind of person who achieves those outcomes naturally. A huge part of playing the long game is realizing that your most valuable currency isn't your time, it's your energy. and you have to protect it fiercely, like money. Every single commitment, every conversation, every app you open has an energy cost, and if it drains you more than it benefits you, well, it's just too expensive. You can't afford it.
This, right here, is the shift. You stop focusing on, I want to write a book. Instead, you focus on, I am a writer. And what does a writer do? A writer writes. It's that simple. When your actions align with your identity, they stop feeling like chores. They just become who you are. And this timeline really shows you why that identity shift is so incredibly powerful. Look, those intense, all-or-nothing bursts of effort, they look really impressive in the moment, but they fizzle out and ultimately lead nowhere. The real magic, it's in the small, daily actions. They might seem totally insignificant day to day, but over time, they compound into something massive. You just have to be patient and let time do the heavy lifting for you.
So, let's bring this all together, shall we? This isn't just a random collection of tips and tricks. What we've been talking about is a completely new blueprint for how you can approach your life.
And here it is, the entire shift in one simple view. We're moving from relying on motivation to building systems. We're moving from dramatizing failure to treating it as totally irrelevant. From draining your willpower to designing your environment. And finally, from just chasing goals to building an identity. That's it. That is the whole game right there.
And this brings us to the final and maybe the most important truth of all. Effortless does not mean lazy, not at all. It means you stop fighting against the current all the time. It means your life is well designed. It's smart, it's strategic, and it's built to create a system that just carries you forward with its own momentum.
So I'll leave you with a question to think about. Looking back at everything we've covered, which one of these invisible hard mode rules has been holding you back the most? And which one are you going to decide to break first?